What is up, YouTube? Jonny here again today, and I'm gonna be bringing you guys an exciting video because we're gonna get to accurately measure our 0 to 60 times and our 60 to 0 times. As you guys know, I got a P3 cars gauge not too long ago, and what this does is that it actually lets me test the car and it actually gives me specific readings of how many seconds it took to do a certain task. So we're gonna go ahead and test it out today. Right now, my FRS is only running 91 octane. That's just the basic fuel that you can get here in Arizona. It does come with like 10% ethanol, which is something that they always state, so we can't get it fully clean. But that's gonna give us a benchmark for a 0 to 60 time. Then after we get that benchmark, we can do E85, which in Arizona right now is like E54, something like that. They don't have E85 anymore unless you go get it at a racetrack, unfortunately. But it's gonna help us see if the 0 to 60 time actually improves with more ethanol content. This is where we're gonna be doing our testing. It is a private road, it's just a big straightaway. It's barricaded on both sides and it has no cross streets. So let's go ahead and get started. So the way we're gonna accurately measure our 0 to 60 times is gonna be using the P3 gauge. So all we have to do is go ahead and push these buttons and get to the 0 to 60 feature. And the way this works is that it's connected directly to our computer system. So it has a wire that connects directly to our OBD2 port, and from there it gets all the data. So with this data, it's gonna know exactly when we're at 0 miles per hour and exactly when we reach 0 to 60. So it's basically when we get to our 60 mile per hour benchmark. Inside of the P3 gauge, it basically has its own stopwatch. So it's gonna start the stopwatch as soon as we hit 1 mile per hour, and it stops it as soon as we get 60 miles per hour. So this is gonna be a lot more accurate than doing it on our phones. So it's gonna be cool to see what times we can get with this. I was looking at Car and Driver, and they said for the 2016 Scion FRS, they were getting about 7.1 seconds, 0 to 60. Obviously, the times have been different for different years, but we'll just say that the 7 is average because I've seen some that are faster than 7 and some that are all the way up to 8 seconds. So let's see how my car performs, because obviously no car is alike. Obviously, some of them will perform a little bit better and then some of them will be a little bit slower. That's just the way production works. So let's go ahead and test it out. Alright guys, we are finally done with the runs for the 0 to 60 times, and we got a consistent 6.97. So I was trying to make sure I was launching at around the same RPM just to keep it, you know, about the same or as fast as I can get it. Any more RPM from that, I would start burning out too much. So I wanted to kind of not burn out but not bog at the same time. Unfortunately, the car is somewhat stock because right now I'm just running 91. I have a header and the OEM TRD catback, so I don't have too many performance mods. So what we're gonna go ahead and do now is check out the 60 to 0 times. My brakes right now are completely stock, so what I want to go ahead and do is measure them. That way when we install the Brembos, as you guys saw in the previous video, you guys know that I have Brembo brake system ready to upgrade it with some steel braided brake lines and some .4 brake fluid. So that way I can see the difference between the stock brakes and the upgrade. So it's gonna be cool to see that final outcome. Obviously, if I decide I want to put more performance mods in the future just to get a little bit more power, we're going to be able to see the 0 to 60 times also improve. So let's go ahead and get started on that. Alright guys, so those are my 60 to 0 times. As you can see, they were around 4 seconds. It was somewhat consistent. Some of them were a little bit above 4 seconds, some of them were a little bit under. 3.8 was about the best I can do. Unfortunately, my car does not have ABS. I went ahead and disabled it. I just don't like the car activating the brake system on its own or any sort of issues like that. I also have my traction control disabled. I don't like the car to control me. I like to be able to drive the car. So I can't just slam on the brakes. I actually have to do some pedal work just to make sure that I don't fully apply the brakes, or else they will completely skid. Another note to add to that is that the tires that I have on here, I bought just for fitment. So they're just a regular street tire. When I first bought them, I just wanted to know what size was needed. So they are definitely up for an upgrade. In the rears, I have Falcon Azeni's RT615Ks, which are more of a performance tire, and I'm probably gonna go ahead and go with those in the front, which will improve braking distance dramatically. All right, guys, we went to go fill up with E85. My gasoline light was on, so that means that I was almost empty on 91. Filled it up with E85, or E55 in this case. Able to get it up to E46 by the time that we started doing the runs again. It wasn't extremely faster because obviously we just changed fuel, but we got it down to a 668, which was pretty impressive. It's almost half a second just from a change of fuel, so that's actually pretty good. So if we decide to go with bigger power gains with either boost or a swap, we're gonna be able to tell the difference between, you know, what it is right now with E85. Also, we're gonna go do some mountain runs now, so stay tuned for that. All right, guys, so these are gonna be the benchmark tests for the car. I wanted to go ahead and get these times done before I start upgrading, you know, getting more performance parts into it and upgrading the brake system. That way we can see what actually improved, and it's gonna be something that's gonna help me figure out exactly what I did to the car, because most of the time you can upgrade something and then you're not gonna really tell the difference. Obviously with the brake system you're gonna tell right away. Obviously if you do some big power boost, it's gonna be noticeable, but if you're just doing little light things, it's not gonna change it, affect it as much. So hopefully we can get that 0 to 60 time way down if we go ahead and end up going turbo or doing some sort of swap in the near future. So as always, you guys have a great day. This is where the true strength of the 86 lies. This car was made for handling. We all know for a fact that this car is not fast. It's not slow, but it's just not fast. The 0 to 60 times were somewhere in the middle. Obviously, after I went ahead and upgraded the fuel system and went ahead and tuned it, the car got that much quicker. Before, minivans used to beat me or be side by side with me, which was quite embarrassing, to be honest. But after I did the upgrade, that was no longer an issue. This car already has amazing handling, but I decided to go ahead and upgrade it that much more with some KW V3 coilovers, which are some of the best coilovers out in the market. And then on top of that, I went ahead and did all the Voodoo 13 rear arms. I went ahead and did ground control top hats for those coilovers, and I'm running agency power anti-roll bars just to make it handle so well. This car takes these mountain corners like nothing. Like, I wasn't even reaching anywhere near the limits of the car, and it was already getting quite scary.